Despite the fracture in the golf world brought on by the Saudi-backed series, Augusta National has announced that they will be handing out invites to LIV players who meet their current criteria to participate in the 2023 Masters.
LIV golfers will be allowed to compete in the tournament.
Now, if you don't think this is major news, then we don't know what is. The possibility that those who switched allegiances to the Rebel League would be excluded from the Masters tournament was believed to be a solid deterrent to pro golfers who wanted to join the upstart Saudi-backed enterprise. But for at least this year, the Masters tournament has decided they will make no changes to their invitational criteria, and what this implies is that eligible LIV golfers would be teeing off at the Augusta National Golf Club in this year's Masters edition. But is the PGA Tour losing its war against the Rebel League, with the Masters not banning LIV golfers? What does this really mean for the game? Stay tuned to find out. The Masters tournament began in 1934 and is one of golf's 4 major competitions, along with the US Open, the British Open and the PGA Championship. And now, the event, which is held every April in the Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia, is set to open its doors to eligible LIV golfers, confirming last December that players from the Breakaway Tour will be eligible to play in the 2023 Masters if they meet the qualifying criteria, with the PGA Tour having suspended players who switched allegiances to LIV Golf. This announcement will be viewed as a major victory for the Saudi-funded series, and it's only understandable because LIV Golf has lured away some of the PGA Tour's top guns, with mouth-watering contracts and huge sums of money leading to a simmering feud within the game. Now, LIV golfers may have been banned from the PGA Tour, but Augusta National has stated that they won't be towing the PGA Tour line, although this may come as a surprise if you've been following up on the latest developments, especially when R&A Chief Executive Martin Slumbers took a similar stance in July, stating that it wasn't on their agenda to restrain LIV golf players from participating in the 2023 Open Championship. You'll realise that the eligible Rebels were well on the way to participating in the forthcoming tournament even before Augusta's official announcement. In a strongly worded statement released by the chairman of Augusta National, Fred Ridley, he expressed his disappointment in the trajectory of professional golf and also a desire to ensure the field at the Masters includes all the best players in the world, irrespective of whatever tour they currently play on, as long as they meet the requirements. Ridley stated that the aim of the tournament since its inception in 1934 was not just to benefit the game of golf, but to assemble the world's finest and leading players to compete for a place in history at the Augusta National Golf Club. Since its inception in 1934, the purpose of the Masters tournament has been to benefit the game. Each April, the Masters assemble the world's finest and leading players to compete for a place in history at the Augusta National Golf Club. It not only provides a stage for fans to experience amazing and dramatic moments of competition at the highest level, but it also promotes the sport both home and abroad. While taking a jab at both tours for letting the feud get in their way to benefit from the game, Ridley cited some golf legends who inspired others to follow in their footsteps, stating that they respected those who come before them and that golf became better because of their sacrifices. Through the years, legends of golf have competed and won the green jacket, Ridley continued. Champions like Ben Hogan, Gene Sarazen, Gary Player, Byron Nelson, Tom Watson, Sam Snead, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Tiger Woods have become heroes to golfers of all ages. These players have inspired some to follow in their footsteps, play and enjoy the game. They've also supported the game and thus all who benefit from it. They showed maximum respect for those who came before them, left a mark and blazed a trail for future generations. And golf is better because of them. While obviously referring to the frequent name-calling and back and forth between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour, Ridley lamented the divisions within the game presently. Regrettably, recent actions and inactions have divided men's professional golf by diminishing its meaningful legacies and the virtues of those who built it. We are obviously disappointed in these developments, but our focus is to honour the tradition of uniting a pre-eminent field of golfers this coming April. He also didn't fail to rule out amending the club's qualifying criteria in the distant future. Therefore, as we send out invitations this week, we will only invite those players eligible under our current criteria to feature in the 2023 Masters tournament. As we have previously said, we take a look at every aspect of the tournament yearly, and any changes or modifications to the criteria for invitation for future tournaments will be announced in April. At Augusta National, we have reached a seminal point in our sport's history. Golf has been faced with several challenges through the years, but we have faith that it will endure again, he concluded. Following Ridley's announcement, it's easy to deduce that Augusta may possibly change its participation criteria, but not for this year's edition. So which LIV golfers are we expected to see at Augusta National Golf Club? Under current criteria, there are 16 players from the controversial Breakaway Tour already eligible for the 2023 Masters. This includes 6 past green jacket winners: Phil Mickelson, Patrick Reed, Dustin Johnson, Sergio Garcia, Bubba Watson, and Carl Schwartzel. Former PGA and US Open champion Brooks Koepka, British Open champion Cameron Smith, and former US champion Bryson DeChambeau will also receive invites along champions for the 3 other majors, earning 5-year Masters exemptions. Joaquin Niemann and Taylor Gooch also earned invites after qualifying for the tour's season-ending PGA Tour Championship before ditching the American circuit. And that's not all. Players who finish the year in the top 50 in the world rank will also earn invitations. Currently, LIV doesn't offer world ranking points, and only 5 of its players finish the year ranked reasonably high to earn spots. Louis Oosthuizen, Harold Varner III, Abraham Anker, Kevin Na, and Jason Kokrak. And Ridley noted in his statement there will be no changes to the Masters criteria for the forthcoming tournament, so any modifications to eligibility will be made next April, which is the tradition. But with this recent development in the golf world, what's the possibility of a peace agreement between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour? You see, we really don't think it'll have any impact in the short term. You would recall that Tiger Woods and world #1 Rory McIlroy, even LIV Golf's Commissioner Greg Norman, have pointed out pretty clearly that there are multiple lawsuits both in the US and the UK. So long before we ever get to a point where both sides can actually sit on a round table and have some sort of meaningful dialogue, those lawsuits are going to have to come to pass. However, it is worth noting that these LIV golfers only qualify for the Masters based on the fact that the Rebel League is still new. So as the years go by, fewer of them will be eligible to participate since they haven't placed a PGA event for almost 5 years. Post-2026, only golfers ranked in the top 50 in the world will be eligible, and in the event the PGA Tour gets its way, none of the Rebel Tour events will be considered for the rankings. Golf Channel reached out to a couple of players on both the PGA Tour and LIV Golf, and most of them don't feel surprised at Augusta National's decision. They pointed out a couple of different things, one being the world ranking element to this. So if you kind of look at the direction things are headed, it doesn't seem like LIV Golf is any closer to getting world ranking points now than they were at this point last year. It also looks like most of those players in the top 50 would eventually lose their eligibility. The other part of the conversation is the 6 players who have exemptions for winning in the past. They come back every single year, which is part of the perk of being a Masters champion. So if you think about it, it makes so much sense, because what Augusta doesn't want is people talking about who is not there the week of the tournament. And if any of those 6 champions, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, or even Bubba aren't there, we'll definitely be talking about it all week. And that's what they're trying to avoid. Well, whichever way it all pans out, Augusta National has spoken, and eligible players from the Breakaway Tour will compete in the 2023 Masters. However, it remains to be seen if this will unite both tours, or if the controversy will linger. It appears that the Masters has surrendered to the Rebel League, but do you see any LIV golfer participating after this year's Masters edition?